So Hunter Biden is now on trial in Delaware, and he's currently facing three criminal charges. They are unlawfully possessing a firearm as a drug user, making a false statement on a federal form when purchasing the firearm, and making a false statement about information collected by a federally licensed firearms dealer. So we're going to be talking a lot about this. We're going to talk about President Biden's reaction. We're going to talk about Maga's reaction and how Fox News is spinning this one. And we're also just going to talk about what does this actually have to do with our day-to-day lives. But first, I want to read to you what President Biden had to say ahead of this trial. I am the president, but I'm also a dad. Jill and I love our son, and we are so proud of the man he is today. Hunter's resilience in the face of adversity and the strength he has brought to his recovery are inspiring to us. A lot of families have loved ones who have overcome addiction and know what we mean. As the president, I don't and won't comment on pending federal cases, but as a dad, I have boundless love for my son, confidence in him, and respect for his strength. Our family has been through a lot together, and Jill and I are going to continue to be there for Hunter and our family with our love and support. Now, can you imagine Donald Trump saying, as a president, I can't comment on a case? He's the guy that violated his gag order 10 times. And where in that from President Biden was this is all a witch hunt. This is all a hoax. This is a conflicted judge. This is a rigged trial. This is the weaponization of government against me and my family. There was none of that. There was no excuses made. That's the difference between the two sides. When people says both sides are the same, I argue all day long. No, they are not. And Hunter Biden has had his family right there supporting him. Jill Biden was there supporting him. His wife, Melissa, was there supporting him. The entire time Trump was there, we never saw or heard from Melania at all. She completely ghosted him during that. And I think that really says a whole lot about this because, you know, damn near anybody can get their family to stand by them during a trial or during something like this. Damn near anybody can rally some friends and family around them. I've actually stood by family members who we all knew had completely messed up and done wrong, but you still stand by them because they're your family. That's what you do. Even if they've made mistakes, you stand by your family. Donald Trump's kids came in at the end and he rallied the troops to all wear their red ties, but his wife was completely a ghost on this one. And now we're seeing the reaction of Fox News and we're seeing how they're starting to spin this one. And this clip from Jesse Waters is one of the most disgusting ones that I've seen. Folks, they're not even trying to hide their racism anymore. They're just coming right out and saying it. And this one's pretty bad, but we got to look at it.
It's called jury nullification. It's when you pick a jury that will give you a not guilty verdict. They know you're guilty, but they just disagree with the law. The strategy plays on the racial makeup of the jury, which is mostly black, as well as the Biden's influence in Delaware. The hope is this jury won't convict for a drug-related crime. Everybody in Delaware knows the Bidens. That's why Jill and Ashley are sitting front row. But that's not all. The Biden family brought Mouse to court. Mouse is a Delaware legend. Joe Biden was the best man at his wedding. Mouse runs Delaware's NAACP and has been involved in the community for decades. They want every black juror to see Mouse sitting with the Bidens. If you can get the jury on your side, all of a sudden, this case is not a slam dunk.
So what he's saying there is that this jury won't convict Hunter of a drug crime because they're black. And people don't see the blatant racism in that. They don't see how that they're just wearing their racism right out on their sleeve for the world to see. There is no reason for anyone to ever wear a hood again. Because if Jesse Waters can go on Fox News and that's acceptable on their platform, then there's no reason for anyone to be hiding it anymore. I mean, they are just right out with it, right in everybody's face with it, and it's absolutely disgusting. And they're already trying to say that this is rigged. This one's rigged too. It's all rigged against Trump, and it's all rigged for Hunter. They always give themselves the out. So when Hunter's found not guilty, they can say, see there, we told you, it's all rigged. He's the president's son. He got a special pass. Everything is rigged against Donald Trump. It's so tiresome talking about this day in and day out, the way they play the victim and everything, and the way they always, before something even gets started, they go ahead and set the stage for in case they lose. And it's just typical MAGA, and it's typical Republican these days. MAGA has infiltrated the Republican Party. I don't recognize it anymore. Most reasonable people don't. And when you lose Trey Gowdy or whatever the hell his name is, I mean, this was the guy, his South Carolina congressman. He was the House chair of the Benghazi committee, okay? And even he is lost on this one. Take a look.
I thought it's about the difference between Trump trying to get a fair trial in New York City And Biden's trying to get a fair trial in Delaware.
Well, you know, Dana, I have this really bad habit, although I'm working on it. I try to be fair. I know there's a very small constituency for that. I think if it had been Donald Jones or Donald Trump or Donald Thomas, we would not have been in New York for the past several weeks. I think if this were Hunter Jones or Hunter Smith, you and I would be talking about something else this morning. So we got to get beyond treating people differently based on their political status or what their last name is. I did gun prosecutions for 6 years. I went after convicted felons. I went after people who were fugitives from justice. I went after lots of different people who are prohibited from possessing a firearm. But I'll bet you there weren't 10 cases prosecuted nationwide of addicts or unlawful drug users who possess firearms or lied on applications. I bet there weren't a dozen, which makes you wonder, of all the cases you could be pursuing in Delaware, why are you pursuing this one?
Well, first things first, I had a hard time concentrating during that clip because I was distracted by his hair. I was trying to figure out what was going on with that. It kind of looks like Andy Griffith's about to start a punk band. But he is right about one thing, and that is that these charges that Hunter faces, they rarely get a conviction. But he did try to both sides it there at the start of the clip. And I really feel like that this is what the whole thing is about. They're trying to create this illusion that both sides are the same. See, look, they're all criminals, so let's just go with our criminal. You know, he says at the start of the clip, well, you know, if this was Donald Jones or Hunter Jones, we wouldn't be talking about it. Yeah, we wouldn't be talking about Donald Jones. If there's someone in America right now named Donald Jones who paid hush money to shut somebody up, the reason we're not talking about that one, the reason we're not talking about Donald Jones is because Donald Jones isn't running for president again. Donald Jones did not take nuclear codes and nuclear secrets that he wasn't supposed to have and refused to give them back. Donald Jones didn't try to overturn an election that he knew he lost. He didn't try to overthrow his own government. Donald Jones has never been president before. His presidency didn't end up getting Roe versus Wade overturned. His presidency didn't end up getting affirmative action done away with. Donald Jones is not out here threatening to lock up political opponents. Do you see where I'm going with this, folks? That's how ridiculous the both sides argument is. Hunter Biden is a private citizen. Hunter Biden does not work for President Biden at all, unlike Trump and his kids. So it's complete apples and oranges, and it's all put here in my mind to be a distraction and to try to paint the illusion that both sides are the same, because there's a whole lot of people out there that aren't paying attention. They're not. They're not paying attention. They live in their echo chambers. They live in their bubbles. They just get fed the same talking points every day. And you sit back and you watch it and you say to yourself, how will we ever have an election again where we get down to the issues at hand and we look at two candidates and we see who we think has the best ideas to push us forward? When will we ever get back to something that was really supposed to be a lot more simple than it is? This has become now just you have us trying to hold Donald Trump accountable for the things he did openly and blatantly right in front of everyone's face. And then you have Republicans over here trying to cook up sham impeachments, bogus bullshit, and coming after Hunter Biden. And they're doing it to capitalize on the person who's not paying that close of attention. And they can come in right at the end near the election. And when they say, well, you know, Donald Trump's a convicted felon, they can point and go, yeah, but look at Hunter Biden. He's on trial too. See, both sides are the same, man. And where I'm from, folks, the one thing I hear in this part of the world more than anything else, when I'm talking to people on the other side of the aisle, they'll say, well, at least they're not a Democrat. If I point out the things that our governor here in Tennessee, Bill Lee, gets wrong, or Tim Burchett, Marsha Blackburn, any of them, if I call any of them out on their bullshit, someone in my part of the world will say, well, at least they're not a Democrat. I hear it all the time. I traveled this part of the world for 25 years as a musician. I've carried on a lot of conversations. I have drove every back road in Southeast Kentucky. I've never seen a Mitch McConnell sign in no one's yard. I've never saw Mitch McConnell flags flying off anyone's house. I've never really even saw a Mitch McConnell bumper sticker. About the only time you would see his name might be if you stopped in some town and there was a little courthouse sitting there. There might be one sticking there. But even talking to people about Mitch McConnell and what he's done to and for Kentucky, it's like no one ever said, oh, yeah, Mitch is a great guy. It's always been, well, at least he ain't a Democrat. That is the narrative that so many people has bought into. And that is why they continue to go after this, so they can give Donald Trump a pass. When you see Marjorie Taylor Greene going after Fauci, it's all to give Donald Trump a pass. when you see them going after Hunter Biden, it's all their attempt to give Donald Trump a pass. But Hunter Biden has a good support network around him. He's got a great family supporting him every step of the way. And Donald Trump just has a rabid, uninformed cult. So no, both sides are not the same on this one at all.